No, it's not easy. Like, of course it's not going to be easy, but you've kind of got to know the work that's going to be put in.
How many people out there that they've got a little bit of a following, and it's kind of like, well, it goes to the head, because it's like, don't just try and be someone online. Live for now.
I always say to myself, like, if I was to die tomorrow and you could see yourself, you could see your life, would you be happy with what you've done?
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So before we begin, I'd like to say thank you to Casita Properties for sponsoring this podcast. They are the UK leading property company when it comes to off-market discreet buy-to-let sales. Guys, Kieran, welcome you back for a second time.
Thank you.
And James, welcoming you into the podcast.
Thank you.
I'm going to let you guys explain who you are and what you're doing together.
Yeah. So I take it off. So James, so how me and Kieran met, a little bit of background is Kieran was my PT in London. So he trained me. We did like a 10-week transformation. I was based in the city, worked there, Jim was there, the Ned and stuff was there. So it literally all made sense. So so we went, I did a 10-week transformation. It was fantastic. And then that was literally just all through the gym. And then outside of the gym, we just became like best mates, didn't we?
Both came single at the same time.
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring that up. I wasn't going to bring all that up.
Well, we're going deep anyway.
Yeah, so Kieran became single, and then I became single, and then it was like, I'd been in a long relationship, and it was like, let's just start booking holidays. And then we literally just became best mates. I'm so sorry, my phone. And then we literally just became best mates and been inseparable ever since, really. Yeah.
Much, yeah. So, yeah.
And what's been formed from it?
A lot. So, for example, during lockdown, my business, I used to run an office brokerage, took a bit of a turn because nobody was out there looking for office space. So we put our heads together and said, look, what can we do? We need to adapt. And then we formed a cold brew coffee company called Coffee, which was fairly successul. And then as we was coming out of lockdown, we then formed Raw Shots, which started to take off. We put it onto Amazon. So it was just the adaptability. So we started to train together, started to form a couple of businesses.
We just had a lot of time on our hands.
Yeah.
So we were just like, what else can we do after finishing working all day on one thing? Maybe there's something else we can do. So we just thought, right,
A couple of side hustles, wasn't it?
let's just start contacting companies, see who can help us out, blah, blah. And then it just went from there, basically.
Well, it goes off what we were saying, wasn't it? Staying busy, looking for the next thing, again, I think there's that two differences. Are you a business owner or an entrepreneur? And I think there's that difference, you're entrepreneur, someone who creates, sees opportunities, stuff like that.
Yeah.
We were just off air, and that's kind of where we're going to go with this. I think it was quite organic what we were talking about, is actually getting down to the nitty gritty of why you want to do well, having like a really good drive. And also something that's really interesting is you formed a partnership, and this is something I've been talking about a lot recently. Myself and Paul have a partnership, but we've done a couple of lives about it, is that it's really important that you're aligned from the beginning, but also like that top of that pyramid is what you both vision. How have you sort of gotten on as a business partnership? Because it can be really tough, can't it?
I'll let you go.
I think we work quite well together. Me and James are very similar. We don't really sit around watching TV. We don't. So that when we in lockdown, we don't watch Netflix. We only watch football and golf. But there's only so much football and golf you can watch. And then we started doing that and whatever. And if I'm working on something one day, James working on something the next day, we just work really well together. We don't ever get arsy of each other about anything. We do the work though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We both know what we expect from each other throughout a week, what we need to do for this. If you got 5 days to do it, just do it. And if you don't do it, then there's going to be problems. But there never is. I
think it's that whole kind of lifestyle thing that you want to chase as well. So there's a certain lifestyle you want to live. And in order to do that, you need to be able to back it up behind the scenes. And that's where we sat there and we was like, well, hang on a sec, let's do some side hustles. And it was like, well, let's try it. And if it doesn't work, you learn. And you learn from what you've tried.
Yeah.
And then we started a couple of side hustles and they started to work. And they've just been fairly successful so far.
Doesn't mean we haven't failed though along the way.
Yeah.
Like what James, we listen to so many motivational speeches always. So if we get any lines that come out, that's why it is. But one of the things is you don't ever fail, you just learn from it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things that we've sort of learned along the way is with Coffee, we did certain things that didn't actually work out. So with Raw Shots, we made sure we didn't do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there's always that sort of element. You are going to fail, but it's just, if you give up, it's inevitable you're going to fail, right?
Yeah,
we haven't just given up. We just keep going.
Exactly that. We've made some expensive mistakes along the way. Don't get me wrong. It hasn't just been all plain sailing. It's been a lot of hard work, and literally long hours along the way. But you're learning. You know, like from where we've started to where we've come now. Like we've learned so much with the whole business journey. Like literally just from stuff like forming a company, how to get it out there, the different types of marketing that we want to experiment with. You know, you find out who your friends are and who will actually push it for you.
Yeah.
Especially like when it comes down to social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things. But I think also as well, like your what you specialize in is not what I specialize in.
Yeah.
So it works really well in that sense.
Good leverage.
You know, yeah, exactly. Good leverage.
It's funny, isn't it? Like you go back to the whole you learn along the way. Is that again? I think people when they always see the end product, don't they? They'll look at your page and think
it goes
he's
back
always
to that.
ripped.
Yeah.
But they're not seeing, I know you do a lot of lives. I've joined a few of your lives and stuff like that. It's trying to take people on that journey to say, look, the way that I am is because if you're on this live right now, you're up at 5 a.m. just as well as I am. Like it's behind closed doors stuff, isn't it? It's mindset.
It is like, for example, we've just moved back in together. So we were living in Canary Wharf together and it was great, gym every day. I moved out and then I started to fall out of going to the gym every day. And it was kind of like sometimes I didn't have someone there to kind of push me as well and kind of help me. But like Kieran's mindset's just gym. No matter what, nothing's going to interfere. If I said to him, look, let's go and do that. No, I've got to do this first. And it's like literally that whole mindset.
Yeah. And
it's admirable. It's fantastic.
Do you think?
But even from an outside looking in, like I go, if even like this morning I went to the gym, yeah, you did as well. There might be the day where you don't. But people might say, oh yeah, it's easy for James because he lives with Kieran.
Yeah.
But I don't do his work for him. He still has to get out of bed. He still has to go to the gym. Do you know what I mean? That's what people don't understand.
It's the good vibes. It's like you'll be picking up.
You know how good you feel when you do it.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. There'll be days where I'm like, I'm not going to the gym today because I just don't want to. But then I'll go. And as soon as I've done it, I'm just like, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
It's those first steps. It's just, you don't want to go if you don't want to go to the gym because you don't feel like it, just do it.
I don't know why we do that as human beings. We know what we need to do to make us feel good. And like today, I felt great. And I was like, there's still days where I don't do this though. So why can't we stick to it?
It's the consistency. The consistency
is
key.
I don't need to worry about it too much. I'm not falling out of shape or anything.
Yeah.
But like the ones that aren't like in a necessarily routine, when they do that, why don't they just go, actually, do you know what? I feel good. I'm going to do it again tomorrow.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? You saying that about we have those days where we think, I think we forward think too much. So we think about what that day entails.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, whereas if you go down to that, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? I think if you just go, right, just got to get down to the gym. Like we all have, that's the funny thing. I can't remember who said this, but who likes really waking up and getting up early? Like when those first 10 minutes, I wouldn't say anyone really enjoys it. There might be people.
No, the first 5-10 minutes, no one likes.
No one likes.
But as soon as I've walked round my bed, opened my curtains, and into the bathroom, I'm awake.
Boom.
I'm done. I ain't going back to bed.
It's got
I
don't know what you did this morning. You went to the toilet, which is half down in the corridor, went back to bed. I was like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
But no, I think, you're dead right. No one actually enjoys that. But I always revert back to the Nike slogan. I always say this to my clients. I think, just do it.
Yeah.
You just got to do it. Like, just do it. Like,
also have something that is going to motivate you. Like I always think like this. If I don't do it, I'll live with regret. That's kind of one of my things is that I would hate it. So for example, when people say to me, and I put out some TikToks that sort of got loads of views and whatnot, and all the comments that come through are hilarious. And people say, but it's not that easy. And in TikTok, you can't even reply with a long comment because it cuts you off. So you can't be arsed half the time.
Yeah.
But I want to turn around to them and do a video and just say, no, it's not easy. Like, of course it's not going to be easy, but you've kind of got to know the work that's going to be put in, and you've got to have something where you can turn around and be like, if I don't do this, I know in 6 months' time, I'll regret it. Because, for example, Kieran and I were about to start something. And Kieran, you decided to do it and I didn't. And I saw you in 6 months' time. You were absolutely killing it. I'd live with regret. I'd become bitter about it. And actually, I'd look at you and probably think, you fucker. But living with regret drives you. So, like, what are kind of your drives? What sits behind your drive and your drive?
Mine's just to know that I've done the best I can. That is literally it. I don't want to go forward and think, I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd done this. And I guess, look, it does fall back to that regret side of things.
Yeah.
I don't want to, in 6 months from now, look back and think, oh, do you know what? I had no excuses really. I should have gone to the gym to make myself feel good, because you've got mental health and you've got physical health. And for me, like from a physical perspective recently, it's been dreadful. And that's what's kind of motivating me right now. and then puts you back into a good headspace. So yeah, it definitely living with regret is just it's huge, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll eat you up. What about?
I don't know. I always say to myself, like, if I was to die tomorrow and you could see yourself, you could see your life, would you be happy with what you've done? And I know everyone always says as well, like, you shouldn't really care about what people think about you and all that sort of stuff. But as human beings, we're always going to care a little bit, you know. And I actually do like it when people say to me, mate, well done. Like, you're smashing it at the moment with your content, all that sort of stuff. I don't say I do it. I don't do it for them, obviously. I only do it for myself. But it is nice to know that you're getting noticed to doing it. It just helps motivate you even more.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's because me and James, we both come from our family's never had any money. You know, we both come from absolute nothing, and it's just made me want to work to that and get up to the top. You know.
Yeah.
So I was just going to say, we were speaking about this recently, weren't we? It's like, it's incredible now that you look back and you look at, like, my parents both worked double jobs. You know, it's like one would come in, the other one would go to work. Like, mum would be there to take us to school, then going to work. Dad would already be at work, and then they'd both do jobs in the evenings, and we'd be looked after. Like, you know, there's 6 of us all together. So, you know, it's a big family.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just look back and you think, hang on a sec, I do X amount of hours and I get so much more than what my parents got. And I've not got the responsibilities that my parents had.
Yeah.
So I think that's what kind of motivates me, because I want to kind of give back as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Give back.
whenever I'm with my parents, I pay for everything now. Not because I have to, because I don't have to. You know, they've got money, but it's just a case of I want to.
Yeah. It's appreciation, isn't it? You know that you didn't have a lot. You know, same for me and my sister when we were growing up. We didn't have a lot. You know, 10 years ago, I was a very different person. You know, I always use this. I didn't talk the way I talk now 10 years ago. Like, we all have a past. You know, we all come from our own struggles, and I think just navigating those and using those in the right way can be a really good driving force. I think as well, when you have small, medium, or big successes, I think something that separates a lot of people and I think you can only do better in business and your personal life is remaining humble. So, for example, I know so many people that have blue ticks and stuff like that and remain humble, like yourself. But you drop down to someone who's got blue tick and they're like 20K, and it's totally gone to their head. And you think they close so many doors. Like, it's insane. These, you know, clients that I work with who have, like we were talking one off camera, who have done so well financially and could open so many doors, they're not on social media. But if you were likable, you didn't have a chip on your shoulder, you just remained humble, and you know, you kind of embrace your successes. And like, there's always this unwritten rule with all entrepreneurs. I don't know what your view on this is, but you have to help other entrepreneurs. You know,
we do. Some people don't.
Some people don't, but that's what I mean.
We say it all the time. We feel like we're just helping out people all the time. We get
We'll
nothing
always,
back.
but I think that's because our mindset's different. We'll always help people, but not expect anything back. But if we were to ask those people for something, it'd be completely different. Like, I've only had Instagram, about 3 years now. So I didn't. The only social media I ever had was LinkedIn, because it's for business. That's all it's focused on. And then obviously 3 years ago, I was like, yeah, look, we started traveling a lot and stuff. So I was like, yeah, cool, I'll get Instagram. And then, it's crazy how many people out there that they've got a little bit of a following. And it's kind of like, well, it goes to the head. Because it's like, but don't just try and be someone online. Live for now. Like, post your, because there's so many people online that they're posting a fake life. Like, you know, it's probably just...
And that's where, when we spoke about in our last podcast about pressures. Like, I don't feel the pressure from Instagram because I've got a load of other shit going on. If you put all into one thing, and then, like, say if you're a small influencer and you're asking for like a certain amount of money for a post or this, that and the other, even you don't do favors for anyone because that's all they've got to fall back on, you know. And I think that's when the pressures get too much and they start thinking, no, this is my job, I need to get paid for it, and all this sort of stuff, and they get stressed out.
That is so true. Honestly, anyone watching that is so true. When you're busy minding your own business, you don't sit there and wallow about, oh, did they like that post? Or because you've got too many things going on. Like, we had NoFap. I don't know if you know the NoFap king on TikTok, but this NoFap movement, I didn't even know what it was, but it's no porn and no masturbation. And basically, like, for masculinity, you know, focus, structure. And I totally get it. And he even asked me on there, he was like, do you practice NoFap? I said, I'm too busy to even, you know, like, I'm too busy to even stop to consider sort of the NoFap stuff. But, you know, I do also agree with it. It's that, like, who can stay that much focused and, like, who can retain, like, and that's literally what the episode was about. I mean, it's a great episode, but there are so many, like, key points is, like, who's focused, who's serious about doing it. But going back to those who remain humble through, like, I know you said, like, you feel like you give a lot back and stuff like that. At some point that will come back to you. And you know that it will.
But
at
even
some
if
point.
it doesn't, we don't expect shit back. If we can help people out, it makes us feel good.
Yeah.
You know, if we've got contacts with somebody who can potentially help someone we know out. Okay, cool. Here, let's link you up. You know, we're happy to do that.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of people. There should be more people like that.
Yeah.
There's so many people who are like, nah, I don't have the contact. But we know you've got the contacts.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're so like, nah, you're not having it.
Yeah.
So who do you think you are?
Yeah. Oh,
The whole point of connections, you know, that's the whole point.
And it really right. So I'm just going to share something with you. There is an individual I know. People who've watched me will hear me say this all the time. But there is a very key individual who could put me in contact with pretty much anyone. And I don't take the P because I understand what can you give someone who pretty much has everything. You know, so all I'll do is I'll do random thank yous, and I'll do like, you know, I'll just say, look, I can't wait to the day that I can repay you. And, you know, like in terms of I'll be able to add some value to you because I really appreciate what you're doing. And there are so many people, like we've launched this peak performance events. And when we reach out to guests and stuff like that, it's crazy because some of the guest speakers that we talk with, they're just like, so want to get involved, so want to add value. And then you speak to someone who's so much smaller than that individual and not as well known, not as you know, financially developed and so forth and successes. And they'll turn around and they'll be like, I'm only doing it for this amount. And you think, like, why? Like, at what point? And I suppose, why is that? Why do you think that happens?
We don't know.
Again, I think it's just because we're different individuals. We're always out there that would help people. And I don't get people's mindset behind where if someone was to say, can I help you? Or if they can help you, why they wouldn't. It's either because they're selfish or somebody's taken advantage of them before.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Like they've been burnt before.
It could be they've been burnt before. It's like, well, look, I've helped X, Y, Z, and you know what they've said that I'm going to get in return, or it could be anything. And I think you could be just facing the brunt of it. Basically, it's just a backlash of, well, look, I could help you. I know I could, but unfortunately, I'm not going to because these lot have ruined it for you. It could just be that. Or it could just be they're selfish and they just don't want to help you.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people get their hopes up as well with everything. Every conversation they have, they expect big things to come from it. Like we've had so many conversations where we've just been bullshitted before, but we're taking everything with a pinch of salt. You know, someone could say whatever, and we'll get off the call and be like, well, let's just wait and see. Yeah. You know, don't. Yeah, no, otherwise, you start thinking, oh, this is going to be amazing, and then you start getting so high, and then all of a sudden you come down here again.
You automatically look at the reward, don't you? Yeah. You automatically think, oh, I've looked at the reward, the big pot of gold at the end.
Yeah.
But the reality is, the steps between that, they're huge steps.
So many.
You know, there's the road to there, and it's like so many zigzags.
That's like it's like with deals, isn't it? I always say, especially like in finances and stuff like that, is don't. Honestly, I say to people, do not spend the money in your head before it is dropped into the account. Do not do it because I tell you now, it will bite you.
Yeah.
We come off most calls and be like, yeah, great conversation, but only if it comes off.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was just a waste of our time.
We had one recently, didn't we? So we had one for the juice shop business. We had one where the guy was like, yeah, I can get you into this store. It's not a problem. It's easy. It was like, cool, let's do it. So, you know, send us an invoice and we'll start paying your fee. He charges a monthly fee. And then he was like, well, look, it's going to take 3 to 4 months. How's it going to say, look, if it's a case of you want the money up front, I'll pay you the 3 to 4 months. You've already said you know the guy. You can get us straight in. And then it's kind of like, well, I want to long it out to make sure I get my monthly worth. And it's like, I'm happy to just give you the 4K.
Yeah.
And just take the money. And if you can get us in there, let's speed it up. And it was just a different phone call, wasn't it? One was like, yeah, I can get you in there like straight away. The next phone call was, we've
got difficulties and stuff.
Do you find as you get deeper into business, you grow as a person, skin becomes a little bit thicker, you learn to pick up on signs, you can almost smell the BS.
Yeah.
I think James is really good at that anyway.
Yeah.
I've since even knowing James, we do quite a lot of stuff together in that regards, and like that's why I do most of the calls with him because he won't take bullshit. He'll be straight to the point with people.
He used to go to me, James, you can't talk to him like, I don't make that. They're messing us about here.
Yeah.
And I said, that's why I had to ask that. I had to go in straight because I'm not here. You know, we're running the business. We're not making money from it. Then let's not do it.
Yeah.
It's so simple. Like I can understand the long goal, but the long goal's too far away on that particular project.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can just kind of sense it straight away. And everyone's out there to make money, and I get it. But don't sell people up the garden path for your own gain.
Return on time invested, isn't it? Like I think you do have to forward think in terms of like who does. You know, when people say, do you want to meet for a coffee? Without being rude, you almost want to be like, great, love to meet you, but what's the agenda? Like, what are we you know, how we're going to maximize our time, because time is so important.
Yeah.
And I have, like you said, going back to, I'm busy, you know, almost like that Eddie Hearn outtake. I'm busy, you know, like it is true. You know, you kind of got to have an agenda, not too much to the point where you just put everyone off and they think you're a bit of an arse, but you know, it'd be great to come out with something,
isn't it? It's age and experience. Like when you're younger, you would definitely go and take those coffees
all the time,
or you'd be the one saying, "Hey, can I meet you for a coffee?"
Yeah.
And someone out of respect would be like, "Do you know what? I'll take it." But yeah, I think, like you said, as you get older and you get thicker skin, you're kind of like, look, I've not got the time. What is it you want? Just be straight. We don't have to sit down and have a coffee. Just ask the question. Yeah. And then it's either a yes or a no.
Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. I want to get one top tip off of each of you that, you know, has been really impactful in your journey so far, that you know, maybe you fall back on, you relate to, and you think, oh, okay, I've got to use that as my fire. Like, what's really sort of made an impact in your journey so far?
In regards to what, like motivation?
Just motivation, just being,
like experience,
just having drive every single day.
I think when you do things in business, if it doesn't work out, just learn from it and learn to draw a line and move on. Don't sit there and dwell on it, because so many people, something will go wrong and they'll dwell on it for so long. And it's such a wasted time that you've been dwelling on it, and you're going to let it get to you, run you down. Just cut your losses, move on. Whether it's a redundancy, you've lost your job, that's fine. Get back out there, go and find that new job or start your new venture. That venture hasn't worked out, fine, draw a line in it, on to the next.
Love that.
Biggest thing for me is it's not necessarily business related, but just concentrate on yourself. I see so many people just worrying too much about what people think of them or their girlfriend, close friends. Like the best thing I ever done was cut off a lot of old people that used to be in my life I didn't need. Yeah. And again, morning routine for me is huge. Cut off all the dead people, and honestly, your life will just change dramatically.
Yeah, totally agree. I love both of those points. Amazing. Do you know what? I'm going to throw one more just before we wrap up. Has there been a book or an Audible or something that you've watched, listened to, that you just think, love that people could perhaps go away?
So one book that I read, I don't know if you read it, it's called The 6 a.m. Club, but it didn't necessarily help me at all, because I do everything in that book pretty
You're
much.
up before then.
Well, no, it's just, most of the things in that book I already do or know or whatever, but for a lot of people, I think that book will help a lot of people out.
Cool.
Maybe Eat That Frog. Don't procrastinate. Get it out of the way. If you've got a list of tasks to do the hardest one first. Do the hardest one first, and then it's just an easy day on from there. Don't do the easy ones to then delay it to get to the hard job, because it's inevitable. It's going to happen.
Yeah, that's a big thing that a lot of people suffer with, is procrastination. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Love this. Covered off loads of value. Everyone that's watched, thanks so much, and we will see you all very soon.